Hi class, this week we're going to talk about encryption and key management. As we know, databases can have a variety of sensitive information. It could be anything from a customer's personal data, it could be confidential, competitive type of information, and with that the impact of lost or stolen data can cause damage in the brand name, a competitive disadvantage, or fines and lawsuits. So we've looked at some of the key things that are important when we look at our data as far as what we're protecting and why. The key issue is that databases are a core part of the operational component of a modern business. And with that, we want to make sure that any data that is captured is unusable or unreadable by the unauthorized individual. With that, then we can look at data that's sitting at rest, which would be in the database, or that is being in transmission. There's different ways of looking at encryption of the data. It can occur at the application level, the database level, or the storage level. And with the storage level, you're going to guard against the risk in case where the storage media is lost or accessed by someone else. With that, then the application level is going to give a higher level of control. But the database encryption is going to protect the data at rest and a little further than the storage level. It's important that we know that passwords should be kept confidential and preferably be encrypted. You should compare the password with the encrypted, never decrypt the data, and then hash the passwords and compare them with the hashes. And this makes it more secure from attacks. So when we look at encryption methods, you can look at it in the different locations with the options you have at the application level, the database level, or storage level. With the storage level, it's going to guard against the risk of the case where the media is lost, but it's not going to protect against malicious insiders or systems that are infected with malware. At the application level, it's going to provide the highest degree of control. Looking at the database encryption, it's going to protect the data at risk and goes a step further than the storage level. Well, it's going to avoid changes in the application level. We should note that with the release of Oracle that we're using in class, it has the transparent data encryption, TDE, that's provided to address the risk that we've talked about already. One key thing is when you have the database encryption in effect, then only authorized applications can access the decrypted data. Other applications and administrators will see the encrypted data only. So that means that it's going to remain protected in the event that there's certain kinds of data breaches. There's some key considerations that we need to make when we look at database encryption. Insiders, employees, and such legitimate users of the system and system administrators can access both the encrypted data and the encryption keys. So with that, they would have access to the clear text data unless you hide the keys, isolate them in a dedicated key management type of system. Likewise, super users can work around, find potential ways to disable the encryption controls unless you have some kind of checks and balances in place to prevent that from happening. With database encryption, there's application issues that we must take into consideration. I had mentioned malware and such, so if you have an infected application, and there's legitimate rights to access it. You can still access the confidential data. Likewise, with multiple database instances, if you're using the same keys, then it could have an impact on the cost and the provisions, rotating the keys, coordinating it in fashion. So that's one consideration. Likewise, if you have a key loss, then it's going to make the data unavailable, since you wouldn't be able to decrypt it. So you need to look at key management and different methods in your decisions on how you're going to handle your encryption.